Hey guys, so I was doing these weekly wrap-ups for a little while and kind of fell out of doing them, so I thought I would try to incorporate them into this video that I tend to do on Mondays. Sometimes I put them on Tuesdays. I tried to film this video yesterday and it just did not go well, so I'm going to try to do it again today and we'll see how it goes. But I would like to incorporate weekly wrap-ups back into the channel. I was thinking about doing monthly wrap-ups again, but there's just too much to talk about in a single month, and it just feels better to do weekly ones. So I'm gonna try to do both weekly wrap up and currently reading in the same video, and plus like a little update on currently writing kind of stuff like I've been doing, and we'll see how it goes. But I did read. Main thing is that I try to update you on how I did on my currently reading video from the past week, and I did quite well. I did finish everything that I wanted to finish, and I didn't really post that much this past week, but I do have quite a lot to post this week. I have several reviews that are filmed and ready to be posted. Probably within the next week and a half, I'll edit them and post them pretty much one after the other. Actually, let me just show you real quick all the books that I have reviews coming out for this week. I have reviews for both of these books coming out, The Untouchables and The Empty Ones by Robert Brockway. These are the first two books in the Vicious Circuit trilogy. The third book is supposed to come out in 2017, so I think like midway through next year. And I very much enjoyed both of these. They're kind of ridiculous, but also pretty fun, and I'll have some thoughts to share with you on them, both of them individually. And then I also read this entire trilogy back to back. I just could not put it down throughout the entire thing. So The Three-Body Problem and The Dark Forest and Death's End, all by Cixin Liu. I really enjoyed these books. I had some slight issues with the first one. I had a little bit of a hard time getting into it at first, and then I just started to really get into it. And then the second one I loved, and the third one I also loved. The third one just came out about a couple months ago. I think it came out in September, and I got that one from the publisher. And I have some giveaways for the first two books, because the publisher was also really nice and sent me the first two books along with the third one. And I also bought myself the first two books at the exact same time, so I ended up with two copies of each of the first two books. So I'm going to be doing giveaways when those reviews come out, so look for those reviews. All of those will be out within the next week or so, and then I also have a review for this out. I'll go back real quick before I go into this book right here. I'll talk to you real quick about Death's End. I finished this book like I said I was going to in my currently reading video last week. I loved this book. This was a great end to the trilogy. This trilogy just has so much scope, and I had a little bit of issues with like the characters in the first book. Mostly just the main character was kind of meh in the first book, but there's so many great characters throughout the rest of the series, throughout the rest of the two books, and I really enjoyed the way the direction that the author pushed these in. It kept on going in so many different directions that I was not expecting. It's very hard to predict what's going to happen in this trilogy, because he throws so many complex and interesting ideas at you, all having to do with our place in the universe and our understanding of physics and other sciences. And it's a mind-blowing series. I don't use that term lightly, and I very much enjoyed it. So I hope if you have read the other two, you will check out the review for this one when it does come out. And then I also did start and finish No One Knows by J.T. Ellison. This is a mystery thriller kind of thing. This one surrounds a woman whose husband went missing 5 years ago, and she was the main suspect for his murder, for his disappearance. They weren't sure if he was murdered or not. He kind of just completely disappeared off the face of the earth, and no one had any idea what happened to him. They were both on their way to a combo bachelorette party for their two really good friends. They went to the hotel, and he kind of went off to the bachelor party, and she went off to the bachelorette party. Apparently, he never made it to his party, and she kind of figures that out halfway through her party, and after that, he's never seen again. So she is suspected for his murder, especially by his mother. Her mother-in-law really does not like her and has never liked her. The two of them have known each other for a very long time and have been together for a very long time. They're kind of like childhood sweethearts. And the mother has never liked this girl, and so she's dealing with the aftermath of like 5 years later. The mother-in-law has decided to announce her son like officially dead, had like illegally declared that he is dead, kind of like as a backstab to her daughter-in-law. And the guy had like a huge life insurance thing pulled out on him right before his disappearance, so that's like suspect, and the mother wants the money for it. So it's a good thriller. I actually really enjoy this a lot. I'll have a lot more to say on it in my review. I actually read this very quickly. I read it in less than 24 hours. It's not necessarily my favorite thriller I've ever read, and it's not necessarily great. It's not something I loved, but I did very much enjoy it, and it was very hard to put down. And actually, I think a big part of that is I actually liked the main character, which is kind of rare for thrillers nowadays. I tend to not like the main character very much at all. And then I kind of vaguely started Still Life by Louise Penny. I have not really gotten into it very much because I've just been focusing on other things, and I'll talk about more of that in a second. On audio, I finished the first two books in the Powder Mage trilogy by Brian McClellan. That is Promise of Blood and The Crimson Campaign. I did very much enjoy both of these. I'm really hoping to get to the third one before the year ends. I think that one's called The Autumn Republic, and I did like this quite a bit. I had a lot of fun reading it. It has its problems, it has its flaws, and some issues I had with it, especially the first one. I think the second one is better than the first one. The first one kind of introduces this world where there's these three kinds of magical ability. There's the privileged, who are kind of vague in their magical ability. They tap into something called the Else, and it kind of lets them cause great destruction. They can kill people really easily with their powers. It's kind of vague on what exactly they can do, what limits they have, and what they can do. And then there's the Knacked, who have knacks for things. Like there's this one guy who never has to go to sleep. There's this one guy who can retain a lot of information very well. And then there's the Marked, who are also called Powder Mages. Powder Mages can kind of take in or ingest gunpowder and then affect gunpowder and affect like the trajectory of bullets and stuff like that. And it's a very cool little magic system. I like the Powder Mages quite a bit, and the Knacked are kind of interesting. I would love to learn more about the Privileged, but right now and they're kind of featured as like more of the bad guy kind of thing, mostly due to how destructive they can be. So we haven't learned a ton about them yet, and I'm hoping we can learn more about them in the third book. There isn't a ton of backstory on where these came from or how they exist, but it's not really too much of a problem. I feel like especially in the second book, the characters have developed quite a bit. The characters that we follow in both books we follow three main perspectives in both books. One of the main characters is named Tamas, and he is this kind of old, really well-respected leader who stages a coup against the king of the country that he lives in. And he wants the reign of kings to be over. He wants kings to no longer exist, and he wants the government to change. And so he gets rid of the king, gets rid of all the nobility, and so he starts to have someone come after him after that. And so he hires a private investigator named Adamet, who is my favorite character. He's really great. Tamas is a Powder Mage. Adamet is a Knacked. He's the one that can retain a lot of information. And he's a really great character. He's kind of on the older side as well, and he has a wife and children. His story is just really interesting, and I very much enjoy following him. He kind of goes into the shady areas of the city and tries to figure out what's happening surrounding Tamas. And then Tamas's son is also a Powder Mage. His name is Taniel, and his story was not as much of my favorite as the other two. I like the other two better. But his story does get a lot better in the second book, and I very much enjoyed him in the second book. He kind of struggles with a sort of addiction to the gunpowder that he has to take in to be a Powder Mage, and we follow him in his journey, various journeys and various little adventures that he set off on by his father, who he has a kind of complicated relationship with. But it's a fun book. It's a fun series so far, and I very much enjoyed the experience of listening to them. I did listen to them audiobook, like I said, and the audiobook narrator is great, and I'm going to try to listen to the third one soon. And then I also started Dawn of Wonder by Jonathan Renshaw. This is the first book in a series called The Awakening. This was originally self-published and then picked up by Podium Publishing, which is really great. I really am enjoying this a lot. It's a very long audiobook. It's about 30 hours long, and I'm really liking it. It follows a character named Aiden. We see him in the small village that he grew up in, and we see him with his friends, with his family. He's got a very abusive father who is a forester who teaches Aiden everything that he knows. Aiden learns how to survive and kind of traipse around the forest quietly, and just he learns a lot of stuff from his father, but has a very complicated relationship with him. And Aiden has this really great ability to just really great problem solving ability, has a really great creatively thinking mind, where he can come up with different ways to get out of situations. He can just plan things very well, and he's very competent at the things that he knows, but he's also very flawed. He's a very well-rounded character, and he's only like 12 when the book begins, I think. And so you get like the young voice that he has, but he's also competent at what he does. He's a good character, and I like him a lot, and I enjoy seeing his story He is in the small village, and then like these slavers come take someone away that he very much cares about, and his family has to like traverse across the land to a different city, and Aiden kind of becomes wrapped up in this other group called the Marshals. The Marshals are in a very elite group that are even more so than like the military, and Aiden originally wanted to be in like the military and get revenge on this very slaver heavy country and this one slaver in particular, and so he was thinking about joining the military, but then he joins a training group of the Marshals, and you kind of get to see his training with the friends that he makes there, and it's great. And I really like seeing the sort of crossover between young adult and epic fantasy. It definitely has some elements of young adult, but it definitely also has some elements of epic fantasy, and I think it's a great crossover book between the two. If you're looking for a book that kind of bridges the gap between those two things, I highly recommend this. And if you like either of those things on either side, if you really like epic fantasy, I still really think you would like this. The main character, despite being young, the story is written in a mature voice, despite the character's age, and you get to see kind of him grow as the story goes along. And I think you will enjoy that aspect of it as well if you like young adult fantasy. So give that book a shot. I'm about halfway through. I'll definitely be doing a review of that one as well, probably within the next week or so, whenever I finish it. And I'm really looking forward to talking about that more. I'm going to be finishing that first, probably today, and then tomorrow I will likely start Thrice the Blinded Cat Hath Mewed by Alan Bradley, which I am looking forward to as the 8th Flavia de Luce book, and I read all 7 of those in 2015, pretty much back to back, and really enjoyed them. And I'm going to hopefully enjoy this one as well. I love the cozy mystery and family story that's in those books, and just the main character Flavia, she's great. And I'm also going to, after that, begin Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire, and it's a fantasy. I've heard great things about it from many different people, so I'm really looking forward to giving that a shot, and I will hopefully be able to share more thoughts on all of those things with you next week if I decide to keep doing a weekly wrap-up. And also I might do reviews of those. I'm not sure. So, and then physically I'm going to be finishing Still Life by Louise Penny, and I'm going to be getting into Morality Play by Barry Unsworth, and then I'm also going to start The Shape of Water by Andre Camilleri, and these are all pretty short books, so I think I can get through them. I talked about them a bit in my International Mystery Thriller TBR that I posted last week or so, kind of looking to get the shorter ones out of the way first and see how I feel about them. I may do reviews of some of them. I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Oh, wait. Currently writing. Let me talk about that real quick. I ran into a snag last week with one of my characters in the situation that I had got him into, and now I'm trying to figure out something, basically, and trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it's kind of difficult for me to just like sit there and force myself to write anything else, because I'm just like constantly thinking about how to do this, and I don't want it to happen again. And I'm trying to figure out the situation, basically. And the way that I do that is just kind of brainstorm as much as I can. I try to make an effort to sit down and brainstorm ideas, kind of just write like little notes on whatever I can whenever I get the chance, whenever I would normally write something. So I haven't written anything in a few days, and maybe like a week or so, actually. So I'm probably not going to get to the 30K in December. That was kind of a far-fetched thing anyway, because of everything that's going to be happening this month. I'm trying to catch up on vlogs on our vlog channel. I've edited a lot, and I'm going to be posting a lot over the next week on there, and catching up definitely before Christmas. And so there's a lot going on. And then Christmas, I have going off to Maryland to visit my family with Giselle. So I have quite a lot of stuff to do this month, but I will set the goal again for 30K in January. So 30K in January. Hopefully I'll be able to get to a little bit more in December. I'm hopefully going to get out of this little funk and keep writing in December and get at least a few thousand words, and then January will also be a 30K goal, and we'll see if I can do that. And of course I'll keep updating you. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. I did forget to mention also that I will have a giveaway for No One Knows by JT Ellison out as well whenever that review comes out, so look out for that. I have a hardback copy and a paperback copy, so I'll be giving away one of those. And if you have any thoughts on anything that I showed you today, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you read anything that I've talked about, definitely let me know what you think. If you're interested in any of it, then I would love to hear about that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.